Okay, welcome to Awan Timeline, Day 1. Yesterday we established how the Congressional Credit Union was being used and different front businesses were being used to bring in folks from Pakistan. They create a front business so they have a place to cash a check. They make them a fake employee at the Congress. They're working as programmers typically, and when they come to the United States, then typically one business is created and then a home is purchased for them. So you're going to find a lot of credit union fraud for all the people coming back and forth to Pakistan. I believe Hasib Rana is going to be one of those people, Rayo Abbas, but you're going to have many, many others that have come and gone. I'm going to say the number is going to be around 100, I think. But the general pattern is two fake businesses per home. That's because there's probably about 2 to 3 contractors per home, so it averages out to about 2 contractors or 3 contractors per home. So that was yesterday. How much changed in one day? We talked yesterday about how the Awan timeline, as far as publicly starts out, was the CDW order where these phones are going directly to his Oxhead home. Now, family members have testified he's sending 150 iPhones intended for Congress to Pakistan, and then they're coming back. More evidence that there is this pipeline from Pakistan to the Congress. We've got the suspicious activity reports for the money going back and forth, so we know that's happening. Is it payments for contractors? I believe it is. Are these employees? Are these payments going through employees from the Congressional Credit Union to Pakistan? I believe they are. That's why when somebody says hundreds and hundreds, I believe it's hundreds of employees. We'll see how many employees it turns out to be. We'll see how many fake employees it turns out to be. But this kicks off the investigation. February. Now remember, this is in the middle of primary season. This is very politically sensitive, so if this information gets out, obviously we have problems. This is also in the middle of Act Blues, the phishing attacks on the DNC and the Bernie candidates. So is Imran Awan involved in that? We don't know. But we are generating metadata. We have metadata in terms of documents of what they've ordered all the way back to 2000, the year 2000, and we're also going to have data transfer that we're going to be able to follow. So we're going to be able to follow that. Now, Grafenstine yesterday confirmed right here in this meeting with Jason, excellent follow-up, that she indeed did have the case. It was her case. Grafenstine was the person on the case. We know from the Washington Post it was a 7-month investigation. She confirmed that she turned this investigation over in October. If you count it back, it's around April 1st to April 15th. So they waited a long time between February and April, so there's probably some kind of internal investigation here where the House Committee on Administration met. They agreed to bring in the House Inspector General, and then she became a part of the case. I think she is the key to the last 17 years and the whole Awan timeline. Grafenstine is my first witness. The fallout, they have to do something. They're looking at these fake employees. There's going to be about 50 of them, maybe 100. They have to have one sacrificial lamb. This is just like this bank fraud case where they take, there's 50 bank frauds. They just single out and make it one, make it somebody didn't repay a loan. This fake employee called a B to one is the one that's fired, quote unquote, from Yvette Clarke. Yvette Clarke's office, New York 9, Anthony Weiner's office. That's where I believe the information is going still. I believe that the campaign server in New York 9 was where the information was going. I believe it's Cadman Square. I know, and Hillary for America a little bit later on, but I believe it's to Anthony Weiner's office, old office, and Yvette Clarke's office in Brooklyn. That's where the data is going from, as Imran Awan now in the investigation is sweeping the congressional servers once an hour and sending the information to Brooklyn. Okay, so Abid works for Yvette Clarke. He's fired, quote unquote. Now, yesterday, this is what it's so important. She said, Grafenstine said, I turned over the investigation. I believe she turned it over to the FBI because if you read the indictment, the FBI says we began the investigation and surveillance on the Sprayer home and the Hawkshead home in October. So I believe this is critical because now Comey has a problem on his hands. The problem comes when this leaks to the press. This starts my series last year when we were doing more of the data gathering. This is Thomas Paine's article. This is when I start the series. This leaks to the press. This traffic between DC and New York leaks to the press. These 650,000 emails are ending up on Huma's server, and now that leaks to the press. I still say it's Boyce. I know Thomas is trying to protect him. And he says 500,000 of the emails are pay to play. So now Comey has a problem. If he doesn't do something about this, he's covering up. That's when he sends the letter to who? To Congress. He sends the letter to Congress. Why Congress? Because Congress initiated the investigation. Congress initiated the investigation. That's why he sends a letter to Congress. And it becomes, later he testifies about it, but he sends the letter to Congress in response. Okay, the unexpected happens. Trump wins the election. Now, you're going to lose the DOJ. Loretta Lynch is going to be on the way out. We don't know who's going to replace her. And potentially Comey is going to be on the way out. So we don't know who's going to replace him. So the lock we had on the investigation is dissolving. We've got to do something. We want to keep the spy ring, though, because maybe, just maybe, we can impeach Trump. We'll use these servers to impeach Trump. Well, nothing happens, and up until they try the different, Hillary won the popular vote and so forth, we can come up to these burglaries. So the burglaries are critical. Sorry about the phone in the background. The burglaries are a sweep of evidence. I think what they're going to say is we were all at a party. We weren't allowed to have our phones. They were all collected. All 20 phones were collected, and that somebody stole all 20 phones, and the server was stolen somehow. You have to get rid of the evidence. You can't have the carriers in Congress carrying the phones around. That is evidence of this transaction between New York and Washington, D.C., this traffic here. Your traffic is going to be on this server. You need to get rid of this evidence. Now, are they going to still try to do the Trump impeachment? Of course, sure. Until this pesky reporter coming down from Montreal is going to be looking into this. And you need to then, that's me, you need to then get rid of the evidence, everything. The server needs to move. And this is where I think the Becerra server ends up getting moved. Finally. I think there's a Becerra server here, but I think there's a second server somewhere. They moved this server somewhere within Congress. I believe that's why he's in Congress that night. Could be that they moved it earlier. Could be that they moved it over to the Hawkshead House earlier and set up the internet connection earlier. We don't know. But he's making a backup of everything on these hard drives. He's got the book with all the passwords. So we still don't know, have that released, and the prosecution's still trying to get that book back along with the police report. Again, this police report will tell a lot. I get there 4 days later on April the 10th. Taggart confirms BlackBerries, government markings, laptops, government markings, server, well, not server, but other Pride hard drives. So the key there is the Pride hard drives. Are they the same hard drives from here? We don't know. We don't have the police report yet. Again, the police report will tell us everything. So much. What I love about this investigation is so many dots are connected now. We have so many of the dots filled in and so many of the connections made. One piece of evidence like this can make so much rain. You can see the connections between how this House investigation and this fake punishment here for just one of the many fake employees is giving away the whole MO. It's giving away the whole MO, the 650,000 emails now. The reason why we had to get rid of the BlackBerries. The reason why Comey had to send a letter to Congress. The reason why Imran has to go in and make that backup of everything, because the light is coming to the case. And then the cover up. He's not finally arrested until July 25th, and he's employed by Debbie Wasserman Schultz up until that day. They waited absolutely as long as they could. They tried to do it over the summer. They were going to try to have a quick trial and a quick dropping of the case over the Labor Day weekend, but the crowds made sure that didn't happen. Good job, everybody. Awan day one.